The storm came down the mountain without mercy, swallowing sound, sight, and hope in equal measure. Pinned against jagged stone, the seals whispered what none of them wanted to believe. She's gone. The wind tore the words away, but the doubt remained heavy, dangerous, and spreading. They had lost contact with her an hour earlier. One moment, her calm voice guiding them through enemy fire. The next, only static, then nothing at all. Snow and rain mixed into a stinging blur, turning the mountainside into a living thing that seemed determined to erase every footprint, every body, every trace of the mission. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Lieutenant Cole Ramirez pressed his helmet against the rock, eyes burning from cold and exhaustion. He told himself he didn't believe the murmurs. He couldn't afford to. Still, the silence where her voice used to be felt louder than any gunshot. She had been their overwatch, their unseen anchor. Losing her meant losing the mountain. Above them, far beyond where visibility died, Ava Kincaid lay motionless beneath a crust of snow and ice. Her rifle was tucked into her shoulder, muscles screaming as she forced herself not to move. The storm battered her like an accusation. Every breath hurt. Every second tested the thin line between endurance and collapse. She had been hit not badly, but enough. Shrapnel along her thigh, blood slowed by the cold. When the blast had thrown her, she'd felt the panic surge, sharp and humiliating. For one terrible moment, she'd wondered if this was where her story ended. Alone, unseen, written off. She thought of the voices below, of the trust they'd placed in her without ever seeing her face. She thought of how easily people assumed silence meant failure. Ava refused to let that be true. The seals shifted positions, boots crunching softly against frozen gravel. Wind moaned through the ravine like something alive. One of the younger operators crossed himself, hands trembling despite the gloves. Another stared upward, eyes searching for a shape that refused to appear. "They're closing in," someone whispered. Ramirez nodded, though his jaw tightened. He weighed the choice no commander wanted to make: push forward blind or pull back and risk annihilation. The right answer felt slippery, distorted by fear and fatigue. High above, Ava adjusted her breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow. She remembered her instructor once telling her that storms revealed truth, not about the mission, about yourself, who you were when the world tried to erase you. Movement flickered through her scope. Enemy silhouettes, barely visible through the sheets of rain and snow. Confident now. They believed the overwatch was gone. Belief made people careless. Her finger rested on the trigger. Doubt whispered again. She fired, she would reveal her position. She might not make it out, if she didn't. Below, a rifle cracked too close for comfort. Stone-chipped. Seal cursed under his breath. Ava made her choice. The shot cut through the storm like a held breath finally released. One enemy fell. Then another. Controlled. Deliberate. The mountain answered back with echoes, confused and scattered. Gug-gug. The murmurs below turned into shouts. She's alive. Ramirez felt something fierce and bright ignite in his chest. Orders came easier now. Movement sharpened. The team flowed forward, coordinated and relentless, weapons rising and falling in practiced rhythm. They moved like a single organism, fed by renewed belief. Ah! Ava shifted positions despite the pain, snow sliding from her sleeve. Her hands shook not from fear, but from cold and blood loss. She hated that weakness, hated that part of herself that wanted rest more than duty. Still, she stayed. Stayed because leaving meant abandoning them. She saw one enemy hesitate, trapped between fight and flight. For a heartbeat, she wondered who he was beneath the weapon, beneath the orders. The moral weight pressed in. Then she remembered the faces below her scope. She fired. The storm seemed to falter, as if surprised by her defiance. When the last threat faded into the white noise of wind and rain, the mountain felt empty. The seals stood in stunned stillness, breaths visible, hearts pounding. Someone laughed a short, disbelieving sound. Another clapped a teammate on the shoulder, hard enough to hurt. "She never left," Ramirez said quietly. Hours later, when the storm loosened its grip, they found her. Ava was half buried, eyes closed, face pale but peaceful. For For one frozen second, fear surged again. Then she coughed. Relief broke through them like sunlight. Hands reached out, careful and reverent. Voices softened. No cheers, just gratitude, thick and unspoken. As they carried her down the mountain, Ava drifted in and out of consciousness. She felt the steady rhythm of boots, the warmth of shared purpose. She realized then that being seen wasn't about standing in the light. It was about being trusted in the dark. Back at base, long after the storm had passed, the story spread in fragments, whispers, nods, a quiet respect that needed no explanation. Ava never corrected anyone who said they thought she was gone. She knew the truth. Because courage doesn't disappear, it waits, it endures, and it returns when it's needed most. And the storm that tried to erase her became the very thing that revealed who she truly was. If this story stayed with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more cinematic stories on Whispered Words. And remember, sometimes the strongest heroes are the ones we almost lose and the ones we never forget.